Good afternoon. I'm really happy to be here with you today. My name is Jennifer Ghidiu, and this is my colon. It's not my actual colon, because that would be really gross. It's a diagram, and it's from my surgeon, Dr. Onabeni, from 2 years ago when I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. I had to have surgery and then chemo. And I won't go into the details, but the surgery was conducted by 3 robotic arms. And the chemo I received from a small pump in a fanny pack that fed into a port right in my chest. 2 full days a week, it would circulate. And I called it chemo to go, because I would take it with me. It was intense. I'm here today, so clearly this story has a happy ending. But at the time, the way that I dealt with all this was to throw myself into my work. And I had the very good fortune of being able to work from home during this time. I previously had traveled quite a bit, but with the chemo, I couldn't get on a plane with a fanny pack full of toxic chemicals. So I had to hunker down and take my meetings via the magic of video conference in my pajama pants. Raise your hand if you've ever done this. Okay, so you know. It was a time where I really learned a lot about virtual learning and remote work, and I want to share that learning with you today. I work with a nonprofit called Big Picture Learning. We are activists for change, and our arena is in education. The work that we do is incredibly difficult. We work with some of the most underserved students in the country. I love it. It is literally sometimes blood, sweat, and tears, and it's hard to do that work over a computer screen. Before I got sick, I had been asked to take on a project to move some of our coaching resources and tools into an LMS so that we could support through online learning. And when I was doing the discovery for this project, when I would speak to people about it, they would say things like, "You can't do what we do online." And even as I was taking on this project, I think that was my belief as well. Up to this point, I had taken online courses, I had students who'd taken them, and the experience that I had, I would say, was anonymous or inauthentic. Young people would use the word boring. But in these months when I was in my pajama pants in my home office, it was really my lifeline, and I had a very different experience. And I found it to be warm and responsive, and I want to talk about some of the ways that that happened today. This is Anna. She's my colleague at Big Picture Learning. We've worked together for about 2 years, but we've only been in the same space for maybe 7 days altogether. You can see from these snaps, these are just various screen grabs from Zoom recordings. Anna really lets her personality shine through, even on the computer. And the months that I was in chemo, we talked a lot. She asked me a lot of questions. And I was in a pretty vulnerable space, but it allowed us to really build a bond together, even though we weren't in the same place. And she sent me care packages. She asked a lot of questions. She really took care of me virtually. And it's pretty great that now I get to do the same for her, because she's having her first baby in a couple weeks. And I've been sending her care packages, and I've been asking her questions. But because we had this personal space together, we really had a different experience of relationship building. And that really helped to deepen our work as well. We have a lot of webinars at Big Picture, just about every week. And we host them on Zoom, so we can see the faces of the folks who join us. Our students, our teachers, our administrators, and we often even have folks who join us from outside of our network. Because we do them on Zoom, often we see this flash of fear as people show up and realize they're on camera. Because when we come to a webinar, we really expect it to be transactional and anonymous, and we're going to scarf down our lunch and watch someone do a PowerPoint, but that's not how we do things at Big Picture. We ask a lot of questions, and we really listen. And the work that we do is to address the needs of the folks who are coming to join us. It is a major connection. And we've found that we're going to break the cycle best by not giving people the opportunity to just show up as consumers. So one of the things that we always try to do as well is to have some fun. We do a lot of engaging and entertaining activities in our webinars as well. These are my boys. And this is the part where I tell you that I've been NED for over a year, which is no evidence of disease, and I've been back on the road. But I want to tell you that most of my learning about this work of learning online is from this guy, who's my 10-year-old son, Francis. Francis loves YouTube. And I work with teachers, and when I ask them what their students are interested in, they throw their hands up and they complain. All these kids want to do is watch videos on YouTube or play Fortnite. And I think that's actually really great, because these are spaces where they are creating, they are playing, they are learning, and they're building relationships. Francis doesn't care how many viewers a YouTuber has or how many subscribers. He cares if he can learn something from them, if they're going to make him laugh, if they'll engage with him in his comments and answer his questions. These are ways that he finds these interactions empowering, and he's doing real learning. I think too often when we talk about online learning, we measure it in terms of scale. We're only talking about the numbers. How many users, how many students, how many viewers? And we're missing an opportunity to really talk about impact. How are we changing hearts and minds? How is this work important? How are we really connecting with the people who are coming to join us in this virtual space? My oncologist, when I would ask him, I would freak out about survival statistics, and he would say, those numbers have nothing to do with you. Your N size is 1. And that's what we have to think about in this space as well, is who is that person on the other side of the screen? Really find ways to authentically connect. In all of this work and learning, I think the things that have stood out to me the most are that you get out of online learning what you put into it. You get out of remote work and virtual collaboration what you put into it. And if you can create a space for your team or your users where they can really be themselves, where they can play, where they can be heard, and where you will follow through, that's how you create a real human work environment, whether you're online or offline. Thank you.